Now you have a good sleep, and then I'll wake you up in time for a good hot lunch.
Now you see her. Now you don't.
Excuse me. The lady who was sitting there...
Detroit Judge.
Do you know where she went?
Detroit Judge.
Here.
Did your
Kahlilia Davis have
a bag or something?
Yes. A great big leather one. She kept it right up there.
I mean, there is a Kahlilia Davis.
And if there is a
Kahlilia Davis.
we better find her pretty quick.
You asked her to ride your question around my face. It's gone.
What are you doing? What are you doing? Come on.
That is not paid for by them. That is paid for by the people of Detroit.
You might be qualified in there.
I'm not qualified for this job.
Let me tell you something. You want to go right now? Okay? You want to go right now?
Hey kids, it's your old pal, Amel Elric. And I don't want to start off criticizing Marc since he just got back from vacation, but that's the worst Elliot Gould imitation I've ever heard.
That was Elliot Gould? I didn't even know that.
I never knew why people were so into Elliot Gould. I've always thought he was terrible.
What was that piece of shit movie you sent me for that intro? That was terrible.
So the lady vanishes. I think it's an Agatha
And by the way,
Christie.
next time find one that
I like
has...
how he doesn't even know either.
Find one that has more edits for me.
Yeah, it's a remake.
That make no sense.
It's a remake of a Hitchcock movie that starred Sybil Shepherd and Angela Lansbury and Elliot Gould. It's just there's an old woman on a train and she disappears, and then everybody tries to convince the American who was on the train that she was
way
crazy.
more info than I used. I don't really. Yeah.
And that's the voice of Erika Erickson you hear, or is it Sean
Hi.
Windsor?
I know we're never in the same room anymore.
In the same
Which
place.
one is it?
It's a mystery. It's a mystery, and we're joined by a special guest, Ryan Hill Esquire, who is an attorney who tried to make the lady vanish. That would be Kahlilia Davis, who is a judge who did no work when she was a judge, but had been working her ass off trying to get elected judge. And it looks like she's going to be back on the ballot, although she's on again, she's off again. But I have a feeling that Detroit voters will have a chance to vote for her. And I am worried, as I wrote in my latest column, that they probably will vote for her, even though there's a Supreme Court order that she can't be a judge for the first couple years of her 6-year term. So we'll be hiring somebody who can't do the job. It's very convoluted. It's very concerning. And we'll get to that in just a minute. But first, we got to tell you who brings us here every week. And that's Luke Nowacki and Pinnacle Wealth Strategy. If you are looking for a plan for your retirement, maybe you're worried about AI taking away your job, call Luke. He will come up with a real human plan. DCFC, if you want to get tickets to see Detroit City Football Club, use promo code SOUL. That's SOUL when you go to Debt City FC and buy your tickets, and you will get 15% off. Caju Cafe, big lineup this week, including a Kiss tribute band. So check that out. Last time I saw a Kiss tribute band, I was at the Vigilantes Motorcycle Club on Gratiot. I thought they wanted to kick my ass, but everything went okay. We probably don't have time to get into that story, but go Vigilantes. And Artisan Interiors, if you need to make some improvements to your home, Artisan Interiors can help you get it done. And finally, if you're watching us, you know you're one of our sponsors, the Soulmates, who send us as little as $5 a month, get to watch the show. They get it before everybody else. You get to avoid all the annoying insertion ads, and you get our monthly bonus episodes. So I'm already exhausted. Erika, fresh off a big win in the Emmys.
Oh, thank
busting
you.
Busting big stories, busting bad
That
guys.
one meant a lot to me. Actually, that was my first win. I
really?
I don't submit for awards a lot.
Well, they're expensive.
They are
You really got to be confident.
Yeah, that one meant a lot, though. That was a very important investigative series that we did involving Vista Maria, of that facility for girls and women. And
troubled young women.
Yeah, and it just started with a girl who went missing, and she was found in the apartment of a 62-year-old man. She had already been trafficked, and then we just followed the paper trail, and so many women came forward. Now the residential program is shut down, and there's a lawsuit, and we're still working on it.
What a fun story.
I know, right?
Jesus.
Oh,
did you
my.
thank the most important thing is, did you thank us in your speech?
No.
What?
Sadly,
All
I
our
know.
support.
I know you guys were so involved. I should have thanked you.
I was trying to
But
think,
I
how
did-
old is Mark? Is he
It's all about us.
62? I don't think so.
Oh,
Not yet.
God.
So-
Hey.
No, but I want to mention another big investigative story I just did. It just popped. I spent almost 10 months working on it. It was this guy who had allegedly been scamming people. I mean, across Southeast Michigan into Toledo, Ohio. Since the story aired, we've had several more victims come forward, and he's in court today. So his name is Marcelo Alvarado. He's not happy with me.
Marcello is mad.
Yeah, he's not happy. So if there's any more people out there who think they've been scammed, I urge people to go check out the story. We put a lot of work into that.
What
too.
did he do? What is this?
He basically
car
was
guy?
This is according to the police. They believe that he was actually selling cars that either didn't exist.
Oh.
He would take cars from people, say that he was working on them, but then after years would go by and they'd submit payments on the cars. But also it extended to the point where he'd give excuses like, my mom died, my brother died, my dog died, I'm so sorry, my kid's in the hospital. No, his mom's alive, his
Kinda
brother's alive.
Unlucky.
Yeah, and reading text messages, it sounded like he was almost love bombing these people and taking their money allegedly. And I mean, he was giving bad checks and just these people are out hundreds of thousands of dollars. And some of these people were so embarrassed that they didn't even go to the police.
Hundreds of thousands of dollars?
I'm not kidding.
What kind of cars? Or was it just a lot of cars?
between families. I mean,
Okay.
like one family was like 80 grand. A woman was 15 grand. You put them all together. Some of these people, though, that's a lot of money for one person.
Shit,
It's terrible.
$500 is a lot of money for me, which I think is
Same,
what my car is worth now.
I'd be pissed.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm just trying to find if there's anyone else who thinks they may have been scammed. Don't be embarrassed.
Send us a note at mlsoulofdetroit@gmail.com
Yeah,
and we'll
do.
pass it over to Erika. And
Thank you.
She'll get muy malo.
The other story
Allegedly,
that everyone's talking about, I know
Marcello.
Marc is really interested in, is a story it's kind of starting to go
One that went
viral
last
now.
night?
Yeah, this pool party that went a
Uh-oh.
little crazy in Birmingham over the weekend. This guy rented out I didn't know you could rent out pools. It's over an app called Swimply. You heard of this?
There's an app for everything.
This is like an Airbnb thing for pools?
Yeah. So this guy rented out his private pool on his
Is this a stools and pools story?
Oh
we're
my!
getting?
Well, they had a porta potty. They didn't have
Okay.
access to the bathroom.
So Spalding wasn't cleaning the filter.
So I don't want to know how. Okay. Anyway, so it was $180 an hour for like 40 people, but the police said there was like almost 200 people there. It was spilling into the streets. One guy said it took 25 minutes.
There's video of it right there.
Holy
there's
crap.
video.
I know. There's a lot of people there.
There's a lot of people. People were telling us, neighbors, I mean, they're outraged, not only because they said that the traffic, they couldn't get in and out of their street, but people were parking in their private driveways, driving over lawns,
Twerking.
twerking.
Whoa, hey.
Yeah, you see that twerking.
How often do you see that in Birmingham?
Pretty good twerker,
Right.
by the way.
She's a pretty good twerker.
She's an athlete.
She
Yes.
is. Twerking on top of cars.
I mean, look at that traffic. That's what that was.
The traffic is what would really,
Holy
yeah.
See, this is why you want to be I don't know what she's doing, but
Well, she's on all fours on top of a car in the middle of Birmingham in the middle of the day.
Yeah, but there were kids there outside. I mean, this is the middle of the day
this
on a
looks like
Saturday.
kind of a bougie neighborhood.
Yes.
It's a nice neighborhood.
What location approximately?
It was on Westchester Way, just south of Maple.
Okay.
Okay.
So
Yep. That is a really nice area. It's by Seaholm, right?
yeah,
Lincoln?
it's a nice area.
Yeah.
And a couple said they actually saw two women engaging in a kind of sex act.
Hot girl on girl action in Birmingham?
Publicly. And
Jeez.
I think that was another major concern. They were not happy with the police response. A few people
I
said.
imagine they don't get many calls like that in Birmingham.
Well, the police were out like five times. And when I was talking to them, they said, well, when we first went out, they weren't violating any laws. But then there was a hit and run with a parked car. Again, there were, parking violations. They made an arrest for someone driving on a suspended license. And
So
they
what-
made those violations, like noise violations for the host and the homeowner.
What do the neighbors say to that homeowner when they come back? Because I presume they weren't in the house.
We have
or
a
if they
statement
were,
from the homeowner.
they were
and
barricaded.
I don't know what they were saying to him, but he did say, here's part of his statement. He said, unfortunately, some of the responses I've received from neighbors have been condescending and with perceived racial undertones. This will not be tolerated. Then he says that people are doxing him and his family, putting his name and address.
Did he just say perceived? I mean,
yeah,
that's
perceived.
perceived.
So I don't know.
All right,
So
that's your
there are a
perception.
lot of
Right.
soulmates who, you know, you're getting your money's worth this week, who watch the video. You'll see there's a lot of black people there. And as
Right.
someone who
there are some white people there, but yeah,
goes
the
through
majority
Birmingham,
are
I don't
African-American.
see a lot of black people who look like they live in Birmingham. So this is kind of what it, but I think to claim that people are upset because this is racial.
It's the traffic, man.
Yeah, I mean,
That's-
you've got
one
people
guy said, he's like,
grinding
I
on
don't
the
even
roof
care
of
about
cars.
short-term rentals. I care about this being a safety issue because don't forget, there was a shooting at an Airbnb.
what, 3 months ago?
I think in April.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
they don't, I think a lot of people didn't want confrontation. Some people are legitimately afraid of retaliation. Are there some people who might be racist? Probably. It's everywhere.
Well,
Here's my big
there's
question.
some people who are playing into some popular stereotypes with the leopard skin bikinis and the shaking of asses and what have you. But at the same time,
that's not the issue, though.
I wouldn't.
One guy said,
say
though,
that-
a woman was walking around wearing a thong bikini and adjusting herself, and her crotch came out, and there's kids walking by.
Yeah, so that's what I'm getting at here is I
Marc's
think
face.
Well,
I think the people who are packing this backyard and running around the street, you would be upset with them whether they're black and white if your little kid looks out the front window and you see somebody grinding on the roof of a car,
Right.
shaking their ass in your front lawn and then kicking it on the grass.
I think it's right on their lawn. There's so many of people. Like if you were out and you were boating or something, you'd expect something like that. Or if you were out at a beach, fine.
What time of day was it?
Jobby
by the way?
Nooner, you know,
It
we
started
just
at
had
4
that.
p.m. on a Saturday.
Okay, because it's still light out.
Yeah, it started at 4 o'clock in the afternoon on a
Now,
Saturday.
my big question is, okay, this website where you can rent out your pool, you rent it out for like what, $180 an hour or so?
Yeah.
That's peanuts. What is a house that big in Birmingham?
I was wondering the
need
same.
$180 an hour to rent out their pool. Like you just wouldn't see it. I don't know. That kind of surprised him. Like that person's got a lot of money. It's a beautiful house. It's a beautiful neighborhood.
A beautiful house.
You really need $180. Like what is
So
the
from
real
what I
story
gathered,
behind who rented it?
This homeowner who I did speak to, he was very respectful, and I'm not putting his name out there just because he said he is getting harassed.
It's Jim Smith.
He is
Smitty to
co-owner of
friends.
a bar in Detroit. He used to be involved with a university. I don't believe he is anymore.
Probably not the dean.
No.
Maybe an adjunct professor of stupid shit.
I don't think he lives there. I think his older kids live there.
Oh.
And he has another property. I think he's got a couple of other properties.
Wait, so is it possible his kids rented it and he had no idea?
He said a friend threw the party and he knew about it. So I don't know. I don't know
if
if
it's a
that's
friend,
true. I'm
why'd
just
you
saying that's
charge
what he
him to
told me.
use the pool?
I mean, these are a lot of younger looking people there too. I would assume this guy's an older gentleman, which makes sense.
He didn't
Maybe
look
his
that
kid-
old.
Oh, really?
No.
You said his kids live there.
I mean, who knows? I mean, I'll show you what he looks like. I don't think he looks that old.
Hold on, soulmates. We're not showing you this week.
No.
Allegedly.
No, we're not.
And his name's not really Jimmy Smith. It's Franklin Pierce.
I just that's
You can tell me how old you think he looks.
a friend. He looks very young. Yeah.
Oh, boy.
But his kids live there, so how old are the kids?
I don't
right?
see young or old. I just see people, Erica.
I would say late 40s. He looks late 40s.
I
I
guess
don't
the other
know.
problem is if you have two women going at it in the front lawn, you're trying to pull Jimmy away from the picture window. It's like, get back to Little League. You know, this is
This one kid came
you can
up
watch
to me
it on your
yesterday.
phone.
This I was talking to this couple.
That's what they're for.
And they're like, they were talking to me and their kid came up and he's like, I saw it all. Essentially, he didn't say that verbatim,
Yeah.
but he's like, I saw it all. And they're like, oh God.
Is he okay?
There's definitely,
He's fine.
dude, with phones these days, there's nothing this kid hasn't
It's
already
kinda-
seen.
Right.
You know,
Kind of what I meant. And,
But I think
Yeah.
the behavior, it's not what you would probably want. But
no,
it's
he
the
was
amount
younger
of people
too.
in the
He was
traffic
like,
that is the real problem.
Well, there's a little bit of a culture class that's probably
100%.
Well, also,
more
what if there
black
were an
folks at a pool
emergency?
party than you're going to see on a typical
What if an ambulance
Saturday
was trying to get through
in
there?
Birmingham. But it's more that this crew, all these people at the party, just took over the neighborhood. I mean, that's a great story. We should put a link on our website, Mark.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Now that you're back,
Do you know? So was the city council going to meet
work.
again like they did after
Yeah.
the shooting in April and just ban
Well,
this app now?
It was already on the agenda to talk about these
Oh, okay.
short-term rentals, but I guess when I was talking to the police, I said, "Was this a way around that?" And they said they had never really heard about these pools being rented out. I also heard that I was talking to Royal Oak police last night. They said this is a huge problem in Royal Oak. These pools being rented out, and I didn't know that either. So this was already going to be talked about last night, and I know that they were going to talk about the incident.
and
with
what's
this
the name
pool.
of this app that people use?
Swimply.
It sounds like you want to rent a pool.
The ad is still up.
Are you gonna have a pool party,
Swimply?
Elric?
Swimply,
Like Simply?
simply but
Let's
Swimply.
swim.
Swimply.
Yeah.
How-
It's easy
The ad was still up last night.
for that house. For that
Yes.
Yeah, I think
Did you contact
I'm
that?
thinking of
that
putting a
company?
pool in my backyard if I can get all these women in leopard
No,
skin bikinis
no.
to come over.
It's got to be bigger than a kiddie pool. You're not going to get $180 an hour.
By the time they get there, it's too late.
I mean, it's a good idea, but what if someone
what
drowns
if the
in your
pool's
pool?
full of Jello?
What if someone drowns in your pool?
Well, I'm sure.
That's
they,
your
Okay, that's an
insurance,
attorney
right?
question, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and we.
I'm
this
sure
is
they have a boilerplate
good time to
agreement
bring
with,
in our
with the
esteemed
with the
counsel here.
website.
Yeah. What
I mean,
happened
you
there?
could say that for Airbnb,
Same
right?
thing.
Yeah.
I'm assuming the app has some type of insurance that they'll
Yeah.
cover the homeowner.
Okay.
You'd assume
Yeah,
that, but,
yeah, blanket. Yeah.
but I've never heard of that app.
Yeah, I haven't either until now.
Cool party at my house.
Man, what else can I rent from my house? Can I rent my garage? Is it
We
garage?
can rent your car
Probably.
out now.
Start garagely.
Garagely, yeah.
I don't know
Maybe
why
a
you
band.
would-
Maybe a band needs somewhere to practice for a couple days,
Oh yeah, yeah.
and they're
Or
terrible.
I'm out.
People need some place to do their golf video games. You know, I know a lot of guys who pretty much just use their garage now for hitting golf balls and smoking cigars.
Simulators.
Maybe some guy just wants to get away from his wife for a couple days.
Ooh,
That would be a
there you go.
popular app.
Yeah,
I could rent out my. Can I rent out my hot tub on
You may
Swimply?
break the
probably.
internet.
Yeah. Oh God,
I don't want
know.
strangers in my
Do you
hot
want to
tub.
do that though?
No, gross.
Damn.
I don't want strangers in my pool. That's what I don't understand why you'd want that, but
Yeah, who knows
Just
what
put
Gross.
a bunch of chlorine in there.
who knows what they're
Yeah.
doing in that pool. I think of
well, knowing what they were doing on the lawn, I don't want to know what they were doing in the pool.
Yeah, I guess that's true. Erika clearly has been hard at work doing some award-winning journalism and also some talkers. I mean, that's a story that
There's another talker in your family, though, Emma.
what?
There's a talker within your family.
I'm married to a Greek woman. I got 3 talkers in my family. They never
But you have
stop
news.
talking.
You have
oh,
news.
yes. My oldest daughter got engaged.
Yay!
Yes, so I've changed the date of my retirement party.
I was gonna say.
It's going to be a year later now. So,
Oh,
all
that's so
things go well,
exciting.
yeah. So,
Did he ask permission?
Not explicitly.
Oh,
Can I show the picture?
Wow.
Sure.
Okay. Well,
Oh,
there we go. I'm the
look
one in
at
the middle.
that.
yeah, you're the one in the ugly shirt.
What?
Ah,
So that was exciting.
look at how cute.
So that was.
Did you say, wait a sec, you didn't ask permission?
How long have they been together?
4 or 5 years or so?
Okay.
What does he do?
Well, I'm a little concerned about this young man's
Uh-oh.
future.
Uh-oh.
He just started his residency at St. John's in the emergency room, so he's.
What do you mean you're concerned?
he's a
At least he's not going into journalism.
No, I mean I was hoping he
Just
was
kidding.
going to buy StockX or SpaceX stock. Just
I think that's great. Good
just
for him.
ruin
Seems
the
like
world.
a good dude.
So yeah, no, he's a great guy.
When
they're
I
a good
got
couple.
engaged, I did ask my father-in-law for permission. I'm
I think
traditional,
that's cute.
and then I didn't. I didn't
What?
drop the question for like a month, and they thought I changed my mind.
Oh my
Oh
God.
jeez.
I'm like, I think you know me by now that I'm just
no.
kind of a procrastinator with certain things.
Wait, were
Yeah.
you scared or were you?
Busy.
Yeah.
He's
Lazy?
busy.
I don't know.
No.
Looking
No.
for the right moment.
I only had
Wait, so
one
what was
question.
the right moment? Well,
Sorry, go ahead.
I don't know.
what was the right moment?
What do you mean?
How'd you do it?
Where we met, place where we met. Super
Oh.
romantic place.
What was it?
Riff.
Oh wow, there you go. right in the peach pit.
No.
No, that's cute
The exact
though.
location
Doing it where you met.
Is
I
it?
like
don't
that.
know.
That's very
Look at him
romantic.
downplaying it.
Yeah. Yeah, I only had one
A little
question
short on
from my
romance.
future father-in-law, and that was, is that thing loaded?
Yeah, it's for real.
And after that, I don't remember.
Well,
getting the answer,
congratulations.
but, yeah, no, we're very excited.
Are we getting invited to the wedding?
Remember what I said about putting off my retirement?
God, no thanks in an Emmy Award speech, no invitation to a wedding.
Yeah,
Nobody cares about us.
We'll see. You know,
I don't want to go anyway. Sorry.
Teresa and I just went to Scotland and got married. It was quick and clean and
Is there any
simple.
chance they'll elope, or does she want a big wedding?
Yeah, what if she wants something huge, extravagant, expensive? What would you do?
Retire in 2 years.
Kids her age.
It's a good thing I work for newspapers, which are stable and have a bright future.
Aren't those big weddings kind of on the outs now? Don't people like small weddings?
They should
That's what
be.
you should tell them. You should send them articles.
It's
like,
going to
There
start
you go.
the trend.
Say, look what's trending.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm kind of hoping for the return of COVID. We'll just have a drive-by weddings. There they are on the porch. Okay, everybody just
Even
wave.
better.
Yeah, have some champagne and some cheese and crackers. But yeah, so we got a plan for that. But
That's
one
great.
thing at a time.
That's cool.
One thing at a time. So we're very excited about
I
it.
can't imagine when that's gonna happen. Like, ugh.
And we celebrated on the Aqua Star in Muskegon. So if you guys ever go out, you know, I
For
talk
free?
about
Did
how
you get
much
for free?
No,
Why are you plugging them?
because it was fun. We went out on this boat with
Good
about
point,
20
Marc.
people, and we're
Just
out
giving them a
there.
hard time.
Somebody's having their 45th anniversary. Somebody's out there for their birthday. There was a bachelorette party, and then there was somebody else. I'm like, wait a minute, I thought we had the big event here. Everybody's out there partying on Muskegon Lake on Saturday night, but that was a lot of fun. But the day before, I got some bad news. At least I think it's bad news as a Detroiter. And that's that Kahlilia Davis is back on the ballot.
I need to hear about this.
Yeah, this is a judge that I first heard about her in 2017, I think, when I was still at Fox 2. She was not going to work. She'd just been elected judge, was not going to work.
She had a pretty good excuse, though.
I remember this.
Excuse me, I had surgery. I have a wound infection and an open wound. So if you want staph infection all over the courthouse.
Yeah.
I remember this.
Yeah. So I was in the middle of another story and I was wrapping up an investigation and I'm like, I'm not going to be done with this. She's going to start going to work. You know, when you have a deadbeat, you kind of, you know, you want to strike when iron's hot. And it's been a couple of weeks and now it's a month. And so I turned to Rob Wolchek and I said, Rob, you know, are you interested? She said, oh yeah, we're going to get, you know, we go get it. So they put a surveillance team on. They catch her going to the gym. She's shopping. She's running. She's going anywhere but the courthouse.
But she has an open wound.
Yeah, well, this is now like 2 or 3 months into it. She's still not going to work. So Rob and his crew catch up, whether they confront her. And that's what she said to Rob when he caught up with her. And you would think at that point, you're going to go to work. But she kind of never did. And when she went to work, she was very combative. She skipped the orientation, so she didn't know what to do. She didn't follow any of the rules. So now we're all paying this woman $139,000 a year not to do the job that we elected her to do, or some people elected her to do. And then the court comes up with an improvement plan. So they hire somebody to work with her. She starts insulting these people and threatening. Yes, more money wasted. And eventually she gets suspended by the Supreme Court. They're getting ready to throw her off the bench. And her 6-year term expires. She jackassed around for 6 years, played out the string. The Supreme Court, in an extraordinary move, says, well, you're not a judge anymore. And there was some debate, and I watched them debate this. They said, well, you know what? There were some people who felt like, well, she's not a judge anymore, so why should we do anything? And others who said, listen, we got to send a message. We need to make sure this doesn't become. So they suspended her for 6 years, which basically means if she gets elected again, she can't be a judge for 6 years. And every election since then, she has tried to run for judge. And Ryan Hill recently filed a lawsuit trying to stop her from being on the ballot because, frankly, if we elect her, she can't serve. And she's already shown us she doesn't want to serve. So what's the issue, counselor?
Well, that lawsuit has been dismissed, as you know,
which is another interesting story.
Wow.
Yeah. So I guess I'll back up. I represent a Tabir Ahmed, who's a taxpayer in the city of Detroit. We filed the lawsuit, a declaratory action. Basically, we're asking the Secretary of State to not certify. I'll call her Judge Davis out of respect. I get a phone call from what's the judge's name?
James Robert Redford.
Correct.
Which if his middle name was like Fred, it wouldn't be James Fred Redford. Because I'm Jimmy Redford, but no, it's when you're Robert Redford, you got to
go
sneak
with
it
it.
in
Yeah,
there.
Makes sense.
So
I get it.
So we filed a lawsuit. I get a call from Chambers saying, hey, there's a motion call. We got to get everyone together. I talked to the AG. We meet and they say, hey, we're going to consolidate these cases. Judge Davis filed her own complaint.
So before you get to that, Ryan, she got thrown off the ballot in 2022 because she claimed she didn't owe any fines. When you claim you don't owe any fines and you do, you're disqualified. So she got disqualified. 2024, somebody challenges her right to be on the ballot by saying, hey, she's got this deficiency, that deficiency. And the Supreme Court said, if you're elected, you can't be a judge. And so another judge, Yates, says, okay, because of that, you can't be Secretary of State, take her off the ballot.
Very, very important. The same court of claims.
The Court of Claims, which is this state court in Lansing where matters involving the state are adjudicated. So now 2026, she tries to get on the ballot again, even though the court's already said, you can't serve. If the Secretary of State tries to put you on the ballot, we're going to take you off the ballot. Ryan's client says, I'm aggrieved. I'm a taxpayer. This person's clearly wasting our time and our money. Knock him off the ballot. The court then, I think, basically said, yeah, we're going to knock her off the ballot. And then they wanted to resolve this with you, which
it's somewhat like that. So we met with the judge. The judge gave us a court date the past Friday. All indications were that he was going to support,
this is like June 10th.
June 10th, yeah, support the previous judge's ruling,
which is she's ineligible.
She's ineligible based on the previous court's decision and the Supreme Court order saying she can't sit. Right. So,
and she also had that wound, so she couldn't sit or stand.
I'm not gonna
Excuse me, I had surgery. I have a wound infection and an open wound. So if you want staph infection,
staph infection.
Yeah, I'm not going to comment.
A gaping wound.
I'm not going to comment on the gaping wound.
What?
But essentially, what happens is the judge says, "Hey, I'm going to consolidate your case with Judge Davis's."
Because at this point, Davis has now filed a lawsuit that says, "I want to be on the ballot." So Hill and his clients say, get her out of here. She's already been thrown off. She's like, put me back on the ballot.
And what happens is the Secretary of State through the AG actually agrees with me. They actually file a motion to dismiss my complaint, basically saying, hey, we agree with Mr. Hill. We agree with what his client's asking for. So in every case in the last 20 something years I've ever had, when someone's agreeing with me, I'm going to dismiss my complaint. And in 20 years,
won.
I won.
Yeah.
Why file a response? Why go to court?
Right.
If
it's over.
Yeah, it's over. Yeah. And I did exactly what I've done for the last 20 something years. As I reached out to the AG and said, I'm not going to respond. Let's do a stipulated order, an order saying we agree, and I'm going to dismiss my complaint. But I'm going to do it without prejudice. What that means is, if something weird happens, I can always file it. There's never an objection to that. And in this particular case, the AG was like, why do you want to do it with prejudice, without prejudice? And I said, hey, listen, the case hasn't started yet. He's like, yeah, sure, go ahead. I wasn't there on Friday. It was a simple procedural thing. My associate shows up. The judge is like, I'm not going to sign the order with prejudice or without prejudice. My associate calls me, really confusing. 20 something years, I've never had a judge not enter an order where I'm agreeing to get rid of a case off his docket.
Yeah, judges don't want to deal with.
Yeah, they don't.
They don't want trials. They want to. You're ready to leave. Please leave. I'll hold the door for you. Get out.
They want a resolution, so I gave them a resolution, and that way we wouldn't have to appear in front of Judge Davis's case, and we wouldn't have to argue the merits. I get a call from my associate. He's like, the judge isn't going to sign the order. I was like, why? He wants it with prejudice because the time restraints for ballots and whatnot. I didn't think anything of it, just because all indications were that he was just going to affirm and go along with his colleague, Judge Yates. I was wrong. I agreed to dismiss it with prejudice. We did that. And the moment that order was issued, the opinion basically putting her back on the ballot.
That's like a bait and switch.
Oh my God.
I want to be
as a lay person, I'll say it. It sounds like a bait and
It
switch.
really does.
I don't want to say.
It is what it sounds like.
Well, here's the thing. The judge didn't place in the record that I was going to win by any means. You would think the conversations I had would have led me to believe that he was going to affirm Judge Yates. right? But
Mhm.
at the end of the day, I made the call. Kind of put me on the spot on a Friday, and I said, "Yeah, go ahead." Not thinking anything of it, and here's where we're at.
But in your
Wow.
experience, you said in the last 20 years, you've done this. You've had these conversations that were very similar.
It was strange. It gave me pause when my associate called me and said that the judge is putting this off till next week, and he wants it with prejudice.
Yeah,
I talked to my client. He's like, "Okay, that's fine. As long as you think that we're in a good spot." And
And
honestly,
you felt you were.
yeah, I was wrong.
Yeah. So just I got the dates wrong. So June 5th was a Friday. I think that's when you agreed to dismiss without
Correct.
prejudice. On June 11th, which is the following Thursday, Judge Redford issues an order in Davis's case, which is a separate case, but it's on the same matter, and says there's no way she should be kept off the ballot. In fact, Secretary of State, inspect all her paperwork, and unless you find a fatal flaw, put her on the ballot. So at one point, you have the judge saying, "You don't want her on the ballot? Yeah, let's get her." In fact, I want you to agree to dismiss your case so you can never bring it back. Then he lets her on the ballot. And because
What am I missing here?
so the thing is, her case, these guys aren't a party to it, so they can't appeal. There's no appeal right for these guys because their case is now dead. And so Davis, it's just Kahlilia Davis all by herself saying, "Put me on the ballot, judge." And the judge says, "You got it, sister." And so that's,
But why?
Well, the judge,
that's what we don't
the
know.
judge did consolidate the cases, and I don't know if the consolidation went through before I dismissed it. I don't know about that, but they make reference in the actual opinion to our case that we dismissed it with prejudice. So yeah, and by no means am I saying the judge on the record said, "Hey, I'm going to affirm Judge Yates."
Right.
It was just a feeling that I got. Speaking to the AG, Eric Grill, great guy. I don't think he had any reservations. He didn't see this coming. We all thought it was just going to affirm what his colleague did a few years ago. So.
I'm assuming you got that feeling because things were said and implied. You don't just have that feeling out of nowhere.
No, I mean, you can always get a kind of a take from a judge by talking
Right.
to them,
Yeah.
right? But by no means did he say, "Hey, listen, I'm going to affirm." He didn't say that.
Right, but it sounds like it may have been implied.
I think what was confusing is that the refusal to do it without prejudice. Again, that was
Yeah.
novel to me.
Yeah.
I'm just like, and then again, I was not there for the Friday hearing because it was supposed to be just simple. Judge, we're dismissing it. All right,
But
move on.
But
I'm still just
clearly,
trying to figure,
they're
like, what am I
related
miss-
matters.
Yeah, what am I
And if the
missing
judge
here?
is like, "Okay, this guy thinks she's off the ballot. He wants to go away. But next week, I'm going to put her on the ballot." That kind of feels like news you could use.
Yeah, and obviously we lose our appellant rights because we dismissed it with
Right.
prejudice. And the only person that can appeal now is the AG. And I'm going to be honest, I haven't gotten word from them. AG told me they're going to look into it and they'll make a decision.
Do you
within the
believe
appellant.
that?
I do. I think
Okay,
I think
good.
the AG is going to take it seriously. But the issue I have now is this isn't a higher court of jurisdiction. What you have is two judges from the same court that are opposed to each other. You have the AG, the Secretary of State, with two conflicting orders. Which one do you follow?
Yeah.
It's not like the Supreme Court or the Court of Appeals issued an opinion saying that Yates's order was void. You have a colleague. So it's not a higher court. So, I mean, one of the questions I would have for the AG is which one do you follow?
Right.
I wrote about this last week. We'll have a link on our website to my column, but this Judge Redford seemed to do some considerable research. In fact, having read both of the orders from Yates 2 years ago and Redford from last week, it seems like Redford dug a lot deeper into this. But it's confounding to me that you would have two people in your court arguing the same point and basically, without kind of a heads up, let one of them walk away thinking they won and doing it in such a way that they can't come back and say, whoa, we didn't know it was going to go this way.
Right.
And then the other one, you're like, yeah, go ahead. And this is where it's really a concern for those of us who are going to pay her salary as Detroiters, and Michigan taxpayers will pay some of her salary too, or anybody who's going to show up in 36th District Court. She was a horrible judge. That's not just my
I
opinion.
didn't realize, I knew about this, but I
That's
didn't
the
realize
Supreme
it went on
Court's
for
opinion.
6 years.
Yeah,
I didn't realize that.
Yeah, this was a slow-moving train wreck, and she's doing stuff like before she gets on the court. She's like, "Can I take a vacation? I got to go see my boyfriend in Germany." You're like, well, how about you come to work before you get your vacation? I mean, I don't
Has
know.
her staph infection cleared yet? Do we know?
Yeah. Then at some point,
play it again, please. I need to hear it again.
Excuse me.
yeah, at some point she said that.
Excuse me, I had surgery. I have a wound infection and an open wound. So if you want staph infection all over the courthouse.
I want everyone
All
at their
over the
job
courthouse.
to use that excuse next time they want time
The
off.
audio.
I'm going to start using that.
The audio I wish we had is when she had a throwdown with some woman outside of People's Fitness, where she's like, you can eat my blank. Who the
What?
hell are you? Oh yeah. So this.
Because didn't she park illegally?
Handicap.
Handicap. That's
And
right.
she had her.
Well, I mean,
She had her placard on that says, "I'm a judge. Don't mess with me." And this woman's like, I can't open my door. You basically blocked me in. Can you move your car? And this Judge Davis, who was supposed to be, by the way, at work at the courthouse, went off on her, profanity, threatening her, and the cops investigated. And it's kind of a she said thing. But I've seen Judge Davis in action, and I interviewed this other woman on her porch.
Uh-huh.
I believe the other woman. She's got no reason to lie. And so the concern for us is if Judge Davis is elected, there are 4 people running for 3 spots on the 36th District Court. She most likely is going to be one of the 3 people to win. She's already won. She campaigns certainly better than she governs. And we're going to have a judge that, first of all, depending on how you read the Supreme Court's order, can't do the job for the first couple years because the suspension either started when they handed it down 4 years ago, or the suspension starts the minute she takes the bench. We don't know which it is. The Supreme Court hasn't given us any clarity on that. So we're going to elect a judge who didn't want to do the job, who now can't do the job for at least a while. Then once she does start to do the job, she's probably going to be as horrible as she was before, locking people up for no reason, imposing.
What if she called you right now and said, "Hey, I've changed"? What would you say?
Say, well, did you get some antibiotics? I don't want a staph infection.
well, okay. So you bring up an interesting point. If she wins, she most likely, I mean, we don't really know, most likely won't be able to serve.
She definitely cannot serve for the first 2 years.
2 years. So, but this is,
I don't know whether we pay her or not.
I think this is what drives people a little batty about decisions and the judicial system on a whole is logically, why should she be elected if she's not going to be able to serve? But when you read Redford's ruling, he says, look, she was just suspended. She wasn't suspended for running from a position. It's a very, you're splitting hairs, which the law so often does. So what I wanted to ask Ryan, is this really a judge doesn't want to rule on another judge? Because we see that a lot of times too.
I think Redford's opinion is actually really well written.
Yeah,
is,
I mean,
but I'm going to use a legal term. It's craziness. That's what it is. It's Judge Yates's opinion makes so much more common sense, right? And what I see Judge Redford literally taking the very words and using them and saying, yeah, you know what? It says that if she's elected or appointed, she can't sit. Taking him
very literal,
yeah, but lacks the common sense that Judge Yates had. I think what Redford did was wrong. I think it's a terrible decision. But don't judges typically hate ruling on other judge matters? Yeah, and another thing that goes to like the higher court jurisdiction thing. This is a colleague that you're basically returning.
They go to the same Christmas party. It's a court of claims Christmas party.
It wasn't in Birmingham.
No,
I don't know. Maybe no.
Kind of cold in December.
What Judge Redford did to kind of differentiate things was Judge Davis wasn't a party the first time. She filed an amicus brief and stuff like that. And I think that's how he kind of tried to circumvent.
So she couldn't appeal.
Gotcha. Yeah, this is not the same thing that my colleague ruled on because she's now a party. I don't know. I think it's a bit of a cop-out. I think it's just a way of him throwing it and saying, someone else deal with this type of thing.
But here's what bothers me. His ruling said in 2024, Kahlilia Davis didn't get to make her argument because she wasn't a party to the case. Well, now in 2026, either by accident or deliberately, she's kept you and your client from arguing your point in her case.
Yeah.
Yeah, that goes back to my gut feeling. But we don't have appellant rights. We made a decision to dismiss with prejudice. Now, I've been told that somebody filed a challenge to her petitions. The issue is, I think you have only 7 days or a certain amount of time to file a petition. So after the judge's ruling, letting her on the ballot, if anyone like Robert Davis, let's say, wanted to file some type of challenge, I think he's precluded from doing so because the time's lapsed.
Yeah.
I was
so-
just wondering. I was going to ask if I don't know if I sounded naive, but is there anything? I was just going to ask, is there anything else that can be done here?
I don't think so. Once someone's, filed their petitions, I mean, originally they certified her. You know that, right?
Yeah.
And so I don't know how that's going to work.
Well, she's certifiable.
Oh my God.
I heard that someone else is going to challenge her, but
Excuse me.
She's just mad anytime you say anything about her now, Eric.
Yeah.
gotta let her say her piece.
so yeah, I don't know. I don't know what the timeline is for the objections now. It's Redford's kind of thrown things into the fan, I guess.
It's so
Well,
dumb.
the thing that Redford's ruling said is that the Michigan Constitution basically says we want to give the people of Michigan every opportunity to vote for people. And I would say that it
But
also
they
gives us
have.
the opportunity to vote against them. Well, the problem is,
They have voted for her and she failed. So
yes,
I mean,
well,
logic would say you're not going to do your job, and when you did it, you were really poor at it. So poor that you're suspended.
yeah,
No more judge for you.
No more judge for you.
Yeah. So the reason we're talking about this, not only because it's an interesting story, but also because we want to try and help inform voters. I mean, the issue is this is a 36 district. This is a district court seat. It's going to be so far down on the ballot, but by the time you see the 4 people running, like, I don't know. And Kahlilia Davis is one of those names that's solid gold on a Detroit ballot. She is probably going to be elected partly because of name recognition, partly because she sounds like someone that's like, yeah, that sounds like somebody I know. And the Constitution gives you the power to vote for people, and it gives you the power to not vote for people. So
she'll get in.
yeah. So
She will.
Yeah.
so we're not endorsing her or saying don't vote for her. We're just saying here's what we know about her, and then do what you think is best for the Republic.
I mean, that's a big district.
Judge Davis, you want to come on the show?
She's busy.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we're probably going to need that.
Excuse me. I had surgery. I have a wound infection and an open
Erica,
wound.
how
So if you want
insensitive.
Well, we don't want the
infection-
open wound in Drew's basement.
No.
Probably get our hazmat suits on. But the other thing is that we don't have that she requested when she said, if you give me this, I'll come to work, was a heavy duty toilet.
Oh, that's
no.
right. I forgot
Wait,
about
what?
that. Yes, that's
She
true.
said one
that's
of her
not a joke. That
conditions-
is true. I forgot about
She
that.
couldn't come back to work because the bathroom facilities were not adequate for her, and she needed what her attorney, I believe it was, referred to as a heavy duty.
I thought you just
toilet.
made that up.
No. This is
Oh no.
this is one of these
Did she
things where
redecorate something
I need to do
or
a deep
ruin-
dive in your
Yeah.
previous coverage.
yeah,
Here.
it's one of these things where when you're writing these stories, you don't have to get clever. You just quote the people because their claims are so outrageous. Their demands are
Well,
insane.
let's be fair. What is her past before you found out about her? I mean, does she have?
I can answer that.
What is
Yeah.
her
Yeah,
work
yeah,
history?
yeah.
She I said that I would consider her a friend, probably to the point where she became a judge. I used to talk to her on her cell phone. She did
Really?
a lot of indigent defense work.
Oh, nice.
She did a lot of felony stuff, a lot of stuff at 36.
Got her law degree from the University of Michigan, I
Yeah.
believe.
I don't know about that.
I think I remember
But
that.
she
Sounds
worked
like a nice background.
she worked at 36 District Court, did House Counsel. When I started, she started around the same time. And I'm not going to comment on the allegations or
Sure.
what the Supreme Court found, but when I was working with her, I didn't see any of that, to be honest with you. I
What
didn't.
happened, man?
Some people get robe fever. They become a judge and they think they become a god. They see that dais as basically a throne on Olympus. And
I mean, it is a good gig.
I've only had one encounter with her since her suspension. I was in court on another matter, and there was a woman who was in court, and they called her case, and they're like, "Where's your attorney, Miss whatever your name is?" And she's like, "She's not here." It's like, "Well, is she going to be here?" It's like, "I don't know. I haven't heard from her." It's like, "Well, we want to move this case forward. Can you get her?" It's like, "I don't know. I don't know." Well, it turns out the attorney is Kahlilia Davis. And she zooms in because 36th District Court at that time, and I think still allows you to participate virtually. And the judge says, "Your client's here. Where are you?" It's like, "I'm driving." It's like, "Okay,
What?
so what's going on?" It's like, "Yeah, she's not good." And basically, she didn't like her client. There was a breakdown in communications or whatever. And the
Oh.
client's like, "Well, I'm here. I don't know what's up with her. She's not here, so it's my fault." And the judge is like, "Okay, clearly this isn't a problem. It's a problem. Do you want another lawyer?" She's like, "Yeah, I want another lawyer." And clearly it's just tooling around. It's like, I don't know. And
oh no.
So I think it's one of these things where I think she needs some help, and not from voters
to fix that staph infection.
Was
the gaping wound.
Do you think she needs a new doctor?
Jesus is my doctor, and he writes out all my scripts.
That's her singing?
That's her singing when she ran to be a judge.
Well, that's
clearly
right.
Everybody
she's got
has
a little
boss.
bigger network than Blue Care provides me.
Everyone has a boss, though, right? I mean, someone oversees these judges. What do you think? What do you
That's
think
the other thing. I mean,
Judge McConaughey.
Yeah, what would their reaction be?
Judge McConaughey's done a great job with 36th District Court.
Yeah.
I think he handled it when he took it over from
Judge
Blount.
Yeah.
So he inherited, I think, what was going on.
And she was going crazy with this woman. I mean,
tried.
this woman was so difficult. Judge Nancy Blount tried to everything she could to come on, let's get you moving. Let's get you. No, none of it worked.
But McConaughey did the right thing. Everything he tried to implement to help her. From what I've been told.
I don't know about that heavy duty toy. I don't remember seeing that.
Duty with a T. What is it?
Well, it's
so yeah, I think
that's a good lawyer joke.
I think that
she needed to dismiss
about
with
spelling.
Extreme prejudice. Apparently, was the problem.
Yeah, I think she was given every opportunity. Again, I can't comment on the allegations, but I know that Judge McConaughey's done a great job at 36, and I don't think he was having it. I don't
really.
So
Okay.
as that would be her boss. I mean, from what I was told,
what could he do? Could he just not give her cases? I mean,
I think that's what happened, right?
Yeah.
When you're not showing up, you just.
How do you give a case to a judge that's not going to show up?
Right.
I think what happened is that she was taken off the landlord-tenant docket. I had one experience with her on that, which was not pleasant. It got to a point where I think she was handling informal hearings, which is usually for magistrates or basically doing more research.
Yeah.
Busy work.
Oh, geez.
But not moving a docket.
Yeah.
And at 36, you have to move a docket. It's one of the busiest courts in the nation.
Yeah.
So when you have a judge that's not performing, it messes everything up, right? So
it's more work for everybody else. If you go down there, because you got to go during the middle of the day, and it's a work day. If you take time off to get your case heard, and they're like, "Where's the judge? Nobody's here. Nobody's doing this. Come back tomorrow." I don't really want to work.
And for those that don't know, it's the one right next to Ford Field, right?
It is,
yeah.
It's so busy. I mean, I can't imagine just people not showing up.
No, I think what they did
it's
was
$139,000 a year job. It's like, it's not like, we're giving them $6 an hour, put them in a corner. This is real money.
It is. But I think what they did was they kind of took her docket and distributed them.
And these are people's
judges.
lives too.
Yeah.
Well, so that's where you have people being verbally abused in her courtroom, being locked up on her say-so for no good reason. And
right.
And rather than document things, like you don't see the court reporter anymore there typing away. Now they do video. She couldn't figure out the video system, so she just held up her phone. Say, I'll record it this way.
What?
And so you can't do that. But here's the real problem.
What?
Is if something goes wrong in your case and you're like, well, I want a record of that so I can appeal it. It's on her phone.
Well, okay, to that point.
So you can't even say, I got a bad ruling.
Oh,
I want my rights. It's like,
you can't do that.
So when she did rule and stuff, how much of that was overturned because of her behavior? I mean,
that's a good question.
I feel like 100% of her cases would.
Well, they still allow court reporters, but you do have the ability to do it by video and audio. I don't understand her reasoning why she didn't want a court reporter in there. That was the issue, is that she refused to have a court
she couldn't get one. Like, they're like, we're going to use the video system in your room. Like, they're cutting some of the human positions, and they're like, well, we record it all, so we'll just use the recording. Of course, she didn't see the training. She couldn't figure out how to do it. So she disconnected it and then started using her phone. So this is,
oh my gosh,
this is
that's
where
so bad on so many levels.
Yeah.
I don't even know what to say.
People can't appeal, right? If there's an adverse decision, you don't have a record. I've seen that happen before, where transcripts are lost or the video doesn't work.
Again, these are people's lives.
Sure.
Yeah.
This is, oh my gosh.
Yeah. So
yeah, but hers is more important.
Well,
that's right.
That's what it seems like.
That's right. Yeah.
She's a peach. So that's the Kahlilia Davis story. Counselor Hill has tried to spare the voters this decision, but guess what, folks? In a democracy, at some point, we do actually have to be informed and decide. So if you vote in Detroit and you see that name Kahlilia Davis on the 36th District Court portion of your ballot, think about what you've heard today. Do some of your research, because let me tell you something. If you read my columns over the last 10 years or saw Rob Wolchek's story, we have only scratched the surface on this one, and it is a deep, dark chasm, which apparently is also infected.
Oh.
And gaping.
Oh.
I thought I went too
and
far.
oozing.
I bit my
Wait, hey.
Which one?
Catch Erika tonight on Channel 4. And of course, we'll have links to my columns on our website, which is mlsoulofdetroit.com. Luke Nowacki wants to know all about your investment and retirement goals and see what Pinnacle Wealth Strategies can do to help you out. Some people are saying that there's a continual, tell me more about that conversational style that leaves them more satisfied than a super soaker fight at a famous singer's ranch in the 90s or at a pool party in Birmingham, perhaps. Coffee and water offered in the office, not other fluids. Want to take care of someone else's kid for 17 years just to get kicked to the curb when they graduate? Why not set up a college savings plan for that? They might even be useful for your own kids. Call or text Luke Nowacki at Pinnacle Wealth Strategies. That number is 248-663-4748. That's 248-663-4748. Get yourself a crumb from the pie. And when you call Luke, he'll make it all about you, sweetheart.
Securities and investment advisory services offered through Mosaic Wealth. Inc. member FINRA SIPC. Mosaic Wealth. Inc. is separately owned, and other entities and or marketing names, products, or services referenced here are independent. Mosaic Wealth. Inc.
Am I supposed to have that?
Well, it's good to have it handy. Right. Soccer news, or as they call it everywhere else in the world, football news. We have some good news from DCFC today. That's the Detroit City Football Club. Their mascot, Friendly, who was stolen from a staffer's car on Saturday, was recovered just before we came on the air. So Friendly has been found.
Thank God.
So that's the good news. DCFC, if you're into the World Cup, and a lot of people who really love it, are thrilled, and a lot of people are learning what a great event it is. DCFC is hosting a series of World Soccer Celebration watch parties for USA and Mexico FIFA World Cup 2026 group stage matches. The USA watch parties will take place Friday. That's this Friday, June 19th at 1:30 at Campus Martius Park. So that's in the heart of downtown. On Thursday, June 25th at the Detroit City Fieldhouse on the east side, with doors opening at 3 p.m. ahead of the 10 p.m. kickoff. They got a great tap there, folks, and really good food. The Watch Mexico parties will be at Los Galanes on Bagley in Southwest Detroit on Thursday, June 18th at 8 p.m. and Wednesday, June 24th at 8 p.m. All the watch parties are free. They're open to all ages. Food and beverage is available, but you got to buy it. That's pretty reasonable. But space is limited. So if you want to go, get there early. And big news. I don't know, Marc, a brace is 2 goals, right?
2, yes.
And hat trick's 3. Well, Darren Smith scored 5 goals in against Jacksonville.
An albatross or something?
Yeah, I don't know. A quadroon? I don't know what the hell. A quintuple? Anyways, he tied the USL championship record for most goals in a single match, which was set in 2013, and he leads the league with 11 goals. DCFC is doing great. They're in second place. They will be back at Keyworth on Saturday versus Louisville FC at 5 p.m. This game will be on ESPN2, and I will be there. So I hope to see you. They're doing great at Keyworth. So catch DCFC this Saturday against Louisville FC. I'll be there. Hope to see you. And if you don't have tickets, go to debtcityfc.com. Put promo code SOUL, that's SOUL, when you go to checkout, and you will get 15% off your tickets. And we'll have a link to that on our website, which, of course, is mlsoulofdetroit.com.
Oh, man, the geeks have inherited the earth.
Did I do that?
What a dork.
Does him wanting to play with us again mean that he's turning into a geek? Or we're turning into cool guys?
This is going to be a quick one. Congress is my geek of the week. Everybody in Washington.
What now?
They're fighting over this voter ID thing when voter fraud isn't really a problem. They're not doing it a reasonable way where you could do it with your driver's license or state-issued ID. They're talking about arches, and they're talking about this, and they're talking about that, and they're talking about all this foolishness when they're not talking about Social Security, which is going to take a big clip. And they're not talking about AI, which is moving so fast that by the time we realize we should have done something, it'll be too late. It may already be too late, but Congress these days is caught up in all this foolishness that has nothing to do with...
Oh, you mean like the Protect College Sports Act?
Well, I'd like to see them get in on that, but it's certainly not as important as protecting Social Security or making sure that...
Don't worry, they'll mess that bill up too.
All obsolete. So, this is one of these things where Congress and politicians in general these days want us to argue over shiny objects, stuff that we think is important while ignoring the real work, the hard work, the reason why we try and send the best and brightest, but so rarely do, to Congress. So, folks, quit screwing around. Focus on stuff that matters. Until then, and certainly this week, of course, you'll be our Geek of the Week.
See you again.
There's an all-night party in room 7609. And you can dance together all night if you've got the time.
Room 7609 is brought to you by the Caju Cafe, where they have some great music and some great times. Tonight, Tuesday night, Gabe Gonzalez, Gonzilla and Friends. The Jam is going on from 8 till midnight. Wednesday is karaoke. Thursday, Bill Meyer Group Open Jam Jazz. On Friday, it's a tribute to Kiss. You're going to want to check that out. On Saturday, if you love punk, new wave, and great 80s music, The Legends of Punk featuring the Hormones, which is a Ramones cover band, Clampdown, a Clash cover band, and Fabulous Disaster, a Sex Pistols cover band, will be playing outside in the beer garden on Saturday night. That is a great time for $10. You cannot beat that. Show starts at 7, runs to 11. Please check it out. Sunday, Eric Grobel and the Flying Crowbars will be playing outside at 6. And on Monday, it's Tasha Owens' Stable Dudes Open Jam. And of course, it's all-you-can-eat Muscle Madness at the Caju Cafe. Check them out at cajucafe.com. Find out about all the great stuff. Smiths Unite are going to be there later this summer. I'll certainly be there for that, but it's going to be a terrific time at the Caju. A couple weeks ago, we talked about Detroit-inspired music in Australia, and I said, is this like Figures on a Beach and stuff like that? Well, we heard from none other than Jerry Vile, the legendary Jerry Peterson, former frontman from the Boners, which was a epic 70s punk group, so obnoxious they were often banned from bars but snuck in anyways. Jerry, one time, the Boners were playing at this bar, but because he had been banned because of his antics, like flying over the crowd in a nun outfit, he performed from a box truck, and they fed it into the bar on a live feed, which, in the 70s, early 80s, not easy to do. So the original bad boy, and he says, was listening to your podcast. By Oz bands being Detroit inspired, they don't mean Detroit punk. They mean Iggy and MC5.
Ah, there you go.
Other Aussie bands would be Radio Birdman. Dennis Tech played in Dark Carnival and at the last Hamtramck Outdoor Festival as a solo act. And my good friend Wendy Case joined him on stage. Saints were the big Aussie first wave punk band. They were very good. And they said they was followed by In Excess and, of course, the legendary Nick Cave. So Jerry Vile setting us straight on Aussie rock inspired by Detroit bands. And, of course, Mr. Magoo checking it. I got so many things to be corrected on from our last live. This is like the beat up ML show, but that's fine. It's all fair. Magoo says, hey, ML, it's your old pal, Mr. Magoo, with a suggestion for Room 7609 Aussie bands inspired by Detroit bands theme that you put forth. But first, I want to say that I was somewhat flummoxed when you stated that you weren't familiar with Hoodoo Gurus who were featured in Room 7609 last week. I guess thanks for listening to the Solo Detroit podcast is in order, as loyal listeners to your program will recall that Hoodoo Gurus were first booked into Room 7609 with their song Tojo back on the January 14th, 2025 show.
God, I don't even remember that.
He's not just calling me out, he's giving dates. Also, it should be clarified that Hoodoo Gurus did have a bassist. That's 2 strikes for me. Originally, the band was called La Hoodoo Gurus when they had 3 guitarists and no bassist, but they added bassist Clyde Bramley and a new guitarist after 2 of the original guitarists left, and then changed their name to Hoodoo Gurus in '83 when they started putting out LPs. Bramley can be seen playing what appears to be a Fender bass in the video for I Want You Back, which was the video we played last week, so that's really hurtful. As for my suggestion for your Aussie-inspired theme, I recommend Television Addict by The Victim. So here we go with The Victims playing Television Addict from their album All Loud on the Western Front.
Read the news the other day about a boy they threw away. He went out and shot someone like some Kodak teleplay. He claimed he was confused between fact and fantasy. It seems he spent all of his time in front of a TV screen. He was a television addict. Television addict. Television addict. Television addict. His lawyer says this boy is sick. Blame the ratings for his crime. They say too much sex and too much violence on the idiot box spoiled his idiot mind. He was a television addict. Television addict. Television addict. Television addict. Watch me. Television addict. Television addict. That's right. Television addict. Television addict. You and me, we spend all of our time in front of our window on the world. Just because I watch Dinosaur doesn't mean I need a facelift. Doesn't mean my brain has slipped. Doesn't mean anything. There's more everything on my mind than on any television screen. We're not dumb. Television addict. We're not dumb. Television addict. We're not dumb. Television addict. We're not dumb. Just because I watch Dinosaur. Just because I watch News More. Just because I watch Lucille Ball. Just because I watch everything else that on TV screen. I'm not dumb. We're not dumb. We're not dumb. We're not dumb. We're not dumb. Motherfucker, I want to.
So here's Magoo teaming up with Jerry Vile. I know you like the story behind the story, so here goes. The Victims were a short-lived 3-piece punk band out of Perth from the late 70s. Now, remember Perth, because that's on the west coast of Australia, and that's going to be relevant in just a minute.
The Western Front.
They listed...
You already said the name of the album.
No, but people weren't paying attention.
I was.
They were shawning
Sorry.
out.
I'm just
Yeah.
because you ruined it by mentioning it earlier.
They listed Detroit's Iggy and the Stooges as one of their inspirations. The Victims only released one single, Television Ad, which is a pretty kick-ass song. When you hear that, you're like, why can't we have more of those?
You know what I like about it? Well, no, go ahead. Do Magoo, and then I'll say, because I don't want to ruin it.
The reference to Dinah Shore?
No, well, just go ahead. Just I don't want to ruin it anymore.
Pretty hot back in the day. But it was very inspirational itself, as it was later covered by many Aussie bands, including Hoodoo Gurus and their bass player. In addition to that lone single, they released an EP entitled, and this is one of the great album titles of all time, No Thanks to the Human Turd. I don't know who they're referring to, but I don't know, but that's great. So they released the EP entitled No Thanks to the Human Turd before calling it quits. Years later, the EP, along with some demos, were repackaged and released as an LP entitled Marc, All Loud on the Western Front. Perth's on the west, you know. Anyways, 2 of the Victims were former members, lead singer, guitarist Dave Faulkner and drummer John Baker. two of the victims' former members, lead singer, guitarist Dave Faulkner, and drummer John Baker, went on to form the Hoodoo Gurus. Peace out, Magoo.
No, I think we've talked about this before. Like for me, music is the music first, the melody, the lyrics. Doesn't always matter to me. Like I'll listen to a song with terrible lyrics. It's a really interesting take of what that song seems to be about, which is a kid who gets in trouble and they blame it on him watching too much television, which I always hated that argument that video games and
it's very Tipper Gore
television. Yeah. That it desensitizes you because you know what? A lot of people play video games and watch TV and don't commit crimes
or get out of their basement or kiss a girl.
Well, that too. Yeah. But I'm just saying, I don't, you just never really hear that argument very often.
Yeah. Well,
which makes sense because they're musicians. They don't want to get blamed. I mean, they blame musicians, like you just mentioned, Tipper Gore blaming Ozzy or Decent. Remember
Black
Snyder
Sabbath.
tore her up.
Yeah. Well, I really liked the Cable Guy more than other people. And the whole premise was that he was kind of psychotic because he was raised on TV because his parents didn't pay attention to him or whatever. And
for a comedy, that's fine.
It was pretty good.
For a legal argument, it's ridiculous.
I think I saw it at the drive-in theater in Laconia, New Hampshire in like 1996 or something. But there was an early Owen Wilson cameo where he gets beat up in the bathroom by Jim Carrey dressed as Freddie Mercury.
God, I haven't seen that.
Remember that? Salt peanuts. Oh, and Owen Wilson.
I'd rather watch it than have you reenact it. But.
That was a great Owen Wilson performance too, where he's trying to impress the chick, but then the waiter comes by. He's like, "Hey, my man, can I get that chicken? Can I get that chicken, please? Can I get that chicken? Where's that chicken at?" It's like, "No, but I want to go back to your store. I really am interested in what you're saying. I'm interested in what you're saying." So by the time he got beat up in the bathroom, like, "Yeah, this is justifiable." But anyway, okay, I'm off track.
Good call, Magoo.
So yes, excellent, and we have a great suggestion for room 769 for a theme week that came to us from, and I've misplaced it now. We'll fix this in post.
No, we won't.
Damn it. From Paul.
So
when you do all the hard work, I know I'm like, Marc will take care of it. Marc's like, the hell I will, you freaking slacker. We'll bring Paul's suggestion on next week, and we'll start with his song. So thanks for your suggestions. We love to hear your songs. And of course, as Magoo pointed out, we love the stories. Send them to us at mlsoulofdetroit@gmail.com. Show's running a little long, so we won't take long to thank our new donors and new soulmates. Okay, that's over. There weren't any. Hurtful. Just $5, you get to watch it. Come on. And now we'll get to our feedback. Ian says, ML, what's it say about Detroit voters that you're worried the dishonorable Kahlilia Davis will likely win if kept on the ballot? And dovetailing on that, who is actually running the Detroit mayor's office? It clearly isn't the just elected TikToker Mary Sheffield. Mary was on at least two boards, the Detroit Riverfront Conservancy and the Detroit Transportation Corporation, when large sums of money were embezzled. Mary and her supporters hand-waved this away, where she was too lazy to show up to any board meetings. I don't think that's how they put it, actually. So she's not accountable. Anyone non-black who dares to hold Mary accountable is quickly smeared as a racist. Mary's also blaming violent teen riots, a.k.a. teen takeovers, on everyone except the delinquents and their parents. Is Conrad Mallett de facto mayor while Mary plays dress-up? P.S. Does Mayor Mary or Mayor Conrad still have you down in the Coleman A. Young Municipal Center basement? Well, let's set a couple of things straight here first. Mary Sheffield has served on a lot of boards as an ex officio member, which means you're there as city council president. And oftentimes those people don't go themselves. They'll send a staff person. But there's no denying, and LaDuff did a really good job of pointing this out in the mayoral debate he hosted, that she missed a lot of these Riverfront Conservancy meetings when a lot of bad stuff was going on. Now, there are about 40 people on the board, including some other prominent business leaders and public officials who also missed it. And I think it's a stretch to say that if she had been going to all those Detroit People Mover meetings, she would have caught that embezzlement, because that's the kind of stuff that's kind of, unless you're looking at the books line by line, you're not going to catch. And board members typically don't do that. But Ian reaches a larger point, which is something that we asked the city council president, now mayor, about during the campaign is, you didn't attend these board meetings. You didn't seem to take those duties seriously. And she'd say, hey, I'm on a lot of boards. I can't go to everything.
Maybe don't sit on a lot of boards then.
Or send somebody and have them give you a report, a summary. So Sontiel Jenkins, who was a former city council president running against Mary Sheffield for mayor, told me, I went to those meetings when I was city council president. I checked in on those boards. And the Detroit News, which reported on the Detroit Transportation Commission absences by Sheffield when she was on the council, talked to the current city council president, James Tate. He's like, yeah, I haven't been to all of them, but I go to some of them and I try and keep up on it. So there are some people who take those duties a little more seriously. And one of the things that concerned me about Sheffield when she was city council member and city council president, she had lots of interests that may be a distraction. She was selling yoga wear online. She was selling diet supplements. And you may remember she wanted to go to law school, which is a very full-time endeavor. At the same time, she was a city council member. She did start law school, as I recall, on a full scholarship, but did not complete. She abandoned those studies at some point. For why, we can't say, but let's just say there were some distractions. And this whole notion of, well, I serve on a lot of boards. The evidence seems to be that you were appointed to a lot of boards, but didn't serve on as many of them as we might have thought. So that's something that bears more scrutiny. Now, I want to address this thing that anyone non-black who dares to hold Mary accountable is quickly smeared as a racist. I think that's going a little bit too far, but I've written how on at least 3 occasions when I pointed out problems with Sheffield, I was essentially accused of being a racist. The race card was played when it was perfectly legitimate journalism and government watchdog stories that we reported. And I think when people try and dismiss these things as racism, they really do everybody a disservice, including people who are truly victims of racism. And I want to go back to Erika's story about the pool party. Whether those people were black or white, that was a shit show.
Mm-hmm.
And to try and say that people are only upset about it because some of the guests were black, I'm sorry. If everybody there was white, if I was a neighbor, I'd have been losing my shit too when you're grinding on the roof of my car, shaking your ass, running all over the neighborhood, causing a ruckus on a Saturday afternoon. So, there is racism in this world. Anybody who says otherwise is delusional. It's a pernicious and a lasting problem. It has been a problem for centuries. Maybe from the beginning of time when people said, hey, you don't look like me, and we're looking for a reason to get mad at somebody. But it's not in every case. And sometimes when you're just caught doing something that's wrong, you're just caught doing something that's wrong. And for all the people who, claim that our coverage at Kwame Kilpatrick at the Free Press and elsewhere was racist, what's more racist, reporting on a black mayor who's committing crimes or being a black mayor who cheated hundreds of thousands of black people who he swore to serve honorably? So let's keep things in perspective, folks. And I think Ian's got a couple of points here that are certainly worth talking about. As far as being in the basement, well, that's just because that's the only space we're able to lease in the Coleman A. Young Municipal Center. But yes, we keep asking to be put back on the 11th floor. And it's noteworthy that of all the mayoral candidates, the only person who said, I'm not going to commit to returning the media to the 11th floor was Mary Sheffield.
Interesting.
She said she'd think about it. Not sure how much thought's going into that, but certainly nobody's invited me to check out some office space around the corner of from her. So yeah, that's a problem. Tommy says, so you won't stop living in the past. I would gladly give you $5 a month, but your continued hate for Michigan is turning off a lot of potential donors.
Wait, what about my love?
Maybe I'll switch to Brad while you continue to fail. Have fun failing.
Oh,
wow. So Tommy, as you know, is true blue. And of course, we have Marc to represent the evil empire. But this is the same time he's like, hey, can I come hang out in the studio sometime? I'm loving my 5 minutes of fame. Which is it, Tommy?
Hey,
which is it, T-Bone?
That just reminded me. What's your take on the whole Jay Batt leaving, the president? Head's already in his hand. Izzo really went off, which is like the one guy who can speak his mind there and not get in trouble.
Yeah.
So, I mean, what do you make of it? Do you really blame the trustees? Is it just no one's in charge?
We have a couple trustees who have been a problem.
Oh, clearly.
And there were some trustees before them who were a problem. But here's what I don't understand about Guskowitz.
That's the president.
Yeah, who just left. I guess the president for now. He still had a majority on the board. he got everything he wanted. So you have some dissenters. I don't like to have legislative bodies who don't speak. I want to know what the issues are. I want to know what their concerns are. I want them to speak, and I want them to, first of all, support our university by serving us with honor and with diligence. But if they have to raise their voice, I like that. I think that's important. And I think Guskowitz is, Tommy thinks I'm always picking on Michigan. Well, I've been pretty hard on Michigan State. Just check the recent episodes or the Free Press anytime. But Guskowitz, I'm like, you know what? I was excited when he came there. I'd run into him at events. I really liked the way he presented himself.
Like a lot of people did.
Yeah, but he raised a lot of money, which is really the most important job of a university president these days. But he kind of seems like a punk to me. It kind of seems like he was getting everything he wanted, but some people wouldn't fall in line, and they still doubled his salary. These guys who were the dissenters wouldn't sign non-disclosure. Good. I don't want you to be silenced. I want you to demand that this Spartan Ventures that we know and can speak about how the money's being spent and raised. I have big concerns about that, and that's a JBAT initiative. He turned a part of our athletic department into a for-profit corporation that no longer is under the control entirely of the university.
Which is interesting because he's going to Kentucky and they already have that.
And they had the first one. Yeah, they're way ahead. I think it's the
most universities are
the
going
True
that
Blue
route.
program or something. But so I mean, listen, I would run into JBAT at hockey games walking around with his kid. I mean, they were accessible. I think he did some good things like returning tailgating to Munn Field. There was a big garage near Spartan Stadium that was just kind of like, it's a storage garage, and they've cleared that out so there's more room for people to hang out before the games.
Can I ask a ridiculous question? Do you think either of these guys just didn't like living up here because they're both from the South? I mean, if that's true, I think that's kind of lame. I don't know where their families are from.
Pittsburgh.
Is he? Okay.
Yeah,
Because
so
I just knew they had worked in the South in North Carolina where they met
Yeah.
each other.
And
Georgia Tech, and yeah.
J-Bat played soccer for North Carolina, so he's at least used to warmer weather from his 20s. But, I just think...
Is it just the leadership is such a mess that it's like, no, let's go elsewhere. This was a mistake.
Well, I don't want to take us in a whole new direction, but I think the money in college sports is ruining college sports, and it's ruining universities where raising the most money you can and doing things like this is the most important thing. I think cutbacks in state funding is requiring these guys to raise more money, which means,
clearly,
when you talk to Duggan about city council, he thinks Detroit's been so successful because city council shut the hell up. So that when he's trying to raise money and bring businesses here, they didn't think like, I don't want to get in the middle of that mess. And so I think Guskowitz is probably thinking, I'm trying to raise money and get this university on the right track. And people look over and they see the board feuding. They're like, I don't want to give my money to that mess.
That's what it seems like.
But when the board was kind of quiet, we had Larry Nassar and people didn't speak up. This is a democracy. It's messy. Sometimes it's slow. We have to hear from all parties and we have to have these discussions, and maybe somebody we disagree with makes a good point and we're like, you know what? They're not so bad after all. So, I mean, I liked Guskowitz, what I knew of him. I thought J-Bat, while I don't like the money grubbing thing he was so good at, was good at it and had some pretty ambitious plans. But I'll tell you, good riddance to both of them. You can't take the heat. Get the hell out of here. Get the fuck out of here if that's your deal. I mean...
Well, or they're just making a decision that's better for them.
These are public service positions. They're well compensated. It's a fun place to be.
I mean, maybe the president. I don't know if an athletic director is really the true definition of a public service position.
Okay, well, if you're really interested in sports and you want, go work for one of the professional teams. Don't come work for...
That's what college football is now, though.
Well, and that's my whole problem. But to me, I love going to East Lansing. I have tons of problems with the university. I have tons of problems with the governance. I see problems all around me. I'm concerned about what they're doing to the campus. I'm concerned about what they're doing to the students, to the professors, to the community, to the fans. That troubles me to no end, but I love going up there. It's a wonderful place. Mm-hmm. I love going up to Ann Arbor. Ann Arbor is a magical place. I've been going there since I was a kid. College campuses are tremendous places. And if you can't be happy being on a college campus, beat it. Go someplace else. And if you think you're going to have problems in East Lansing, when Kentucky doesn't win, you're going to have real problems. When Clemson
Especially
doesn't win,
basketball, yeah.
you want to replace Dabo? Guess what? Gus, that's going to be on your agenda.
Yep.
Your football team ain't winning their bats. Okay, you can't win a championship with the highest paid roster in all of college basketball. You think you found yourself a soft landing in Clemson and in Kentucky? Good luck.
Yeah.
Turns out you weren't as smart as we thought you were.
But
How do you like them apples, Tommy?
That comes with the territory.
Yeah. I mean, yes.
I mean, it's hard running a university.
Yes.
It's hard running an athletic department. They're all going to have issues like that. So I just don't know if Kentucky or Clemson will be that much easier than, say, Michigan State. But from where I sit, it just, I don't think they like the leadership there.
Well, they don't like the board.
That's what I mean, yeah.
Take a number, but when you win every vote, what's the problem? You know?
Well,
I mean,
who knows where he capitulated? There's always something, right?
Well, I think that's the other thing is there is always something, and do we know what it is?
Yeah. Doesn't sound like it.
The ML hit parade continues, this time with Melinda jumping in. Good morning. I just read your new column. This is a column I wrote about some of the unusual things I saw in Mackinac, including a Republican gubernatorial candidate hugging a Democratic gubernatorial candidate, Mike Duggan and his wife just walking around in public, not behind the doors, having meetings, walking past people who wrote him big checks and not seeming to feel too bad about dropping out after spending a lot of their money on his independent gubernatorial candidate. And I mentioned that Rick Snyder was hanging around in the lobby of the Grand Hotel with nobody to talk to him, and that maybe Governor Whitmer saw that and said, maybe running for president isn't such a bad idea because once you're not governor, nobody seems to care. Snyder was up there to serve on a panel, by the way. Anyways, Melinda says, lovely attempt to whitewash Rick Snyder's record. Again, I just wrote that he was standing around looking like a mope. His reputation and career were justly destroyed because he covered up the Flint water crisis. Who in the heck was ever asking to shake his hand? Believe me, tons of people. I was there. I saw it. It happened the whole time he was governor. I didn't see you there, Melinda. Or if I did see you there, you didn't say hi. Why didn't you say hi? Kind of mean. Not just because this whole thing's kind of mean. Give me a break. I guess you forgot about Flint. Hey, I didn't even forget about Dre. The people there who died and the untold number who will end up dying from cancer and his lifelong best friend and consigliere getting arrested. She's referring here to Rich Baird. 2, why is some rich and disgraced old white guy who sent his own kids to $34,000 a year at Green Hills Prep School in Ann Arbor on a panel to discuss public education? He has no bona fides. His last personal experience with public school was 50 effing years ago in Battle Creek, long before Wall Street and NAFTA gutted that town and every other town in Michigan. You reporters do the same with other politicians, candidates, and billionaires, notably Duggan and Benson. Duggan's kids all went to Catholic Central and or Country Day, correct? I don't know.
I know he went to Catholic Central, right?
He went to Catholic Central. Maybe his son did. I don't know. His daughter is a girl, so she wouldn't go to Catholic Central, but I don't think they went to Country Day. But if you're asking, then you don't know, so shut up.
But if you pay taxes, you're supporting public schools. I mean, you should have a say, right?
I mean, people can send their kids where they want.
Exactly.
Right? I mean, and I'm safely assuming Benson's sole kid ain't in Detroit public schools. I think their kid's 4, so probably not. Yet you reporters let these clueless political hacks posture as public school experts without noting their own kids were educated in private. At least in Duggan's case, I believe he himself was also a private school lifer. Well, he went to the University of Michigan for his undergrad and his law school. That's a public school. Note, my kids were sent to private schools K through 8. I have nothing against private education. It's the media's role in this deliberate pattern of a lack of transparency and where pals send their own kids and propping these nitwits up as public education experts that bothers me. Sincerely, Melinda. Holy crap.
I mean,
girlfriend, I just said he served on a panel where they're talking about education, how charters and private schools and public schools.
But she's got an interesting point. It is weird. I don't know how to say this exactly, but if you don't have skin in the game, right, do you care as much? And I can understand why someone would say, hey, if your kids don't go there now, like, why would you do you really know what you're talking about? Are you really involved in public education? I get that.
Yeah.
But the fact of the matter is a lot of politicians are older and don't really. The whole Flint thing, that does that does kind of blow my mind. But that's so typical of politics, where it's like, well, the people of Flint are still affected by it, but everybody else has just moved on. And that's just a done issue for a lot of people, but not for the people that live there.
Yeah. So there's no question that the emergency managers that Snyder put in charge in Flint blew it. Yeah. They're responsible for
damn near criminal
generations of damage that will never be undone and can never be made right, no matter how much money you give those folks. I mean, I think people are still bathing with bottled water. That's outrageous. But if there's one thing I'll give Snyder credit for, and there's a lot I won't give him credit for, the helmet law, should have kept that. The fireworks that he allowed to go off anytime, that was a mistake. He had to fix that already. The right to work and taxing people's pensions, thank God those were undone. I mean, a lot of bad things, but at least he acknowledged there was a problem in Flint and tried to do something about it. Now, it's a problem of his administration's making, so that doesn't in any way ameliorate what happened. But to say that I mentioned that this guy is sitting on a panel and is standing alone in a lobby when before people, that's whitewashing his record, you got to be friggin' kidding me. Now, he's on this panel. This panel included public and private education experts, whatever. I suspect he came there to speak on behalf of the private education. I think he supported charter schools, which I think are one of the worst things that's ever happened to the state of Michigan, because it's allowed us to pretend that we were fixing public education by diverting our public tax dollars to what are essentially private schools and aren't as accountable, and also have the ability to get rid of students that they don't want there. Yeah. Sending those kids to the public schools as a school of last resort. You know, Melinda, I got to tell you something. These ad hominem attacks on reporters because we didn't pursue your narrative or we didn't march right down the line with you, they're really out of line and they're unfounded. You make all these accusations about where people's kids are going to schools that you don't even know. I guess I would just suggest that that's not the only time you're talking out of your ass, but please keep the feedback coming. Rick Snyder for the Politicians Hall of Fame, he doesn't have my vote, but I'm also not out there pimping for him as you would suggest. But hey, I understand you're angry, okay, la-di-da, direct that energy into someplace positive and try and throw some facts out there as well.
Yeah.
Okay. Chris says, hey guys, left Ann Arbor, Michigan 10 years ago for California, now Arizona, but still a Detroit sports fan with free and Detroit news subscriptions, and of course, Red Shovel Network show listener. Just want to let you know that having Brad Galley on your show, as we did 2 weeks ago, helped him gain a subscriber to his channel. I knew he was starting something new after leaving WXYZ, just wasn't sure what his show was going to be about. Love the idea of a 15-minute interview. Great guest. Loved how he wouldn't take the bait for any of the jokes you guys were making.
Man, jeez.
Classy guy.
Must have been bad jokes.
4ML. Go Blue!
Yeah!
Christopher in Scottsdale, Arizona.
So when you offend me, you're offending a lot of people in the audience.
Oh, good galley, Miss Malley. But check out that episode with Brad. Find out what he's up to. You can find that at mlsoulofdetroit.com or wherever quality pod. No whitewashing that episode. No whitewashing. Yeah, it's just this whitewashing thing drives me.
I can tell.
I think. Yeah. Well, here's the thing. I think I've exposed more crooked politicians in this state than anybody else over the last 25 years. And I mentioned a guy standing around in a lobby looking like a lonely dick, and all of a sudden I'm part of a conspiracy. Oh boy. Diane says, a few weeks ago, you started to make Mike Slater from the Ethos life insurance commercial your Geek of the Week. Marc interrupted you for someone else, and you never got back to it, which you guys do all the time, but I still love you. Since I hear that commercial all the time, it's driving me crazy to know why you wanted to make him geek. I know why I do. So sick of hearing it, but what do you know that I don't? Love the show. Love you guys. Am a Patreon supporter. Diane. Oh, God bless you, Diane. Talk to my friend, Melissa. I merely was saying that he was our Geek of the Week because he's so casual. And that, first of all, have you ever heard this podcast, Marc?
No.
No, I don't know. But I guess everybody has a podcast and we're Exhibit A. But just his casual things like, you're going to die. You're all going to die. Buy life insurance. Like, oh, kind of casual.
He's not wrong.
No, he's not wrong, but it's just sort of, it seems sort of callous to me.
What do you want him to be like? You're all going to die.
Or,
what do you want him to do?
Or that guy in the plane that makes everybody shit their pants. We're not going to make it. We're not. I just think it's.
I had someone yell that on a plane once.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Obviously, you made
just in bad weather. It was a younger girl. She's like, "We're all gonna die." And I actually, my response was to laugh, and I'm like, "Wait, what is? Does she know something I don't know?"
Did anybody slap her like the nun in Airplane?
Oh yeah,
one was losing it. And there's that line of people that.
I gotta tell you, the worst flight I've ever been on. This past week, I flew back from DC. That was the most turbulence. Going down the runway, I'm like, oh boy, this doesn't feel right because it was swerving all over. It's really hot out. It's a smaller plane, so it's gonna move more. But holy shit, it's only an hour flight, but 45 minutes was it was a roller coaster.
Oh, that's not good.
Enough where some family members were not very comfortable. And then the youngest family member was like, oh, is this not normal? This seems fun.
Yeah, they thought
the 8-year-old.
They got a ticket for the wild mouse at Coney Island.
Yeah, there you go.
Well, the cyclone, I guess it was at Coney Island. But tough week for planes. The skydivers whose plane crashed right after takeoff.
Mm-hmm.
The B-52 that took off and crashed. I mean,
the helicopter in Brazil with the Oliver Tree on it. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's like make sure you get your flight insurance, folks. But yeah, no, I just just Slater. He taught. He's like, my dad died. So now you're trying to turn a tragedy into a buck, and then it's like, you're gonna die. We're all gonna die. Or no, I think he says you're all gonna die. But it just, I don't know. I'm just like, dude, come on. Okay, more.
Would you rather he says you're not gonna live forever? Does that soften the blow?
Like the song from the original Highlander?
It's exactly what I wasn't thinking.
Oh, well, maybe I'll have that in room 7609 next week. By the way, the Highlander sequel may be the worst sequel ever. Have you ever seen it? So,
has anybody seen it?
The premise of Highlander, right?
Yeah, I remember I saw Highlander when I was like 8 years old in the theater.
And so you remember Sean Connery gets decapitated.
Yes.
He's the Scottish.
Spoiler alert.
He's the Spanish guy with the Scottish accent.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, apparently in Highlander 2,
The Quickening.
Yes, he and McGregor are reunited in space. So I mean, I don't know where to go.
Well, it bombed.
I don't know where to go.
It didn't make any money, so
I did like the original Highlander. It made me cry. Robert says, you and I both have tremendous pride for our alma mater, but MSU is a systematic dumpster fire.
Amen.
I can't believe more alumni didn't see President Gus and his protege Jay Batt screwing over the university from a mile away. Two flim-flam man Southern scammers who should have never been hired. That widely publicized $400 million donation never actually happened, just like the $95 million for Tucker never really actually happened. And firing the football coach for $35 million to hire an unemployed successor who was predicted to go 3-9 was totally asinine.
I don't know about that last point, but yeah.
Well, I'm worried about it. Another $30 million down the drain. Not to mention the disaster Gus pulled with the medical school. Once Izzo hangs it up, turn the lights off in East Lansing. Bob in Fort Myers.
They'll be fine.
Oh my God. Grace. Apparently MSU is now begging their departing president to stay. So cringe. Even cringier. Turns out a Lansing developer is behind the push. Gillespie Group. They were in bed with the outgoing president in some 9-figure campus development proposal. Then she shares a tweet. Does anyone really care who the university president is? The scandal is so overblown. All these ivory tower hacks sure as shit ain't worth $2 million a year. Well, I certainly agree with the last point. I am concerned that the next president that Michigan State gets is going to have to love the hell out of this university because our last two presidents said, can't work with the board, I'm leaving. That's not the way you want to promote a job opening, fairly or not.
I mean, maybe I'm Pollyannish, but I think the university will end up being fine. I have a few rough years. You don't think the institution's bigger than those individuals?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, it'll be fine.
I want to
every giant institution like that is going to have problems.
Well, I want to.
It just sucks when it's all at one time.
We've just been, 10 years of calamity, and I want to rise, and I don't want the rising to be climbing out of a pit, and that feels. But I will tell you, again, I teach there. The students are great.
Yeah.
The campus and the community are wonderful. Kids get a great education. They leave there, they get jobs. They have the best time of their life. my daughter met her fiance there. And, this is a wonderful, sensitive kid who needed someone who also was caring and loving. And she found him there at this place where, people like me pee on the side of buildings and would throw up after keg parties. There's knuckleheads like me there, and they're just absolutely wonderful, gracious human beings there.
And to that point, I looked it up, and in U.S. News and World Report, you can have all the kind of problems with how they
We're in the top 1,000.
how they
better than a football team,
and how they rank them or what they used to rank them, but at least they are consistent in how they rank them. And 2017, they were 82, 81, 85, 84, 80, 83, 77, 60, 60, 64. So that aspect, I mean, it's the same. I'm just using it for you have a baseline and where it goes.
Sure.
It is improving,
And in fairness, I have to mention that Michigan's also in the top 100.
You know it.
Maybe in the top 10.
I don't know if they are.
Yeah, they're not. You're right. They're the top 100. We'll give them that. We don't want to.
I'm going to look it up now. Hold on.
Damn it. Well, while you're looking up, I want to set the record straight. We had a email a couple of weeks ago complaining about the EMU golf team being a feel-good golf team and not really being there or anything like that. Well, I happened to catch up with Jared Ramsey, who's our great high school preps writer who also writes some college stuff. And he wrote about the EMU team. He said, no, they're on campus. They have to be there for tests. They are students. Yes, they did train in California for a month in the off season because some of them live there. And yes, there are some students from overseas. But he said they are certainly not as much like a full-time college student as you and I were, Mark, but they are a lot more like the traditional college athlete.
Most athletes are not. Yeah,
Right.
a lot of athletes take online courses.
Yeah, they are a lot more like the traditional college athlete than our letter writer would have had you believe. And so I wanted to set the record straight there because we want to give our friends in Ypsilanti their due. Go green, go white. I do want to say one thing about the Eagles. When you have a chance to rename your school mascot and you pass up the emus, how do you pass up the emus?
God, the Hurons is such a great nickname. And I don't think the local tribe had a problem with it. I think it was President Sheldon at the time, right?
I don't know. I never liked him on The Big Bang Theory.
Young President Sheldon.
Yeah.
All right, here's Michigan's rankings in the U.S. News and World Report. And this is for all universities. In the
La,
world.
la, la, la.
Well, I'm just trying to show you the pattern. 27, 28, 27, 25, 24, 23, 25, 21, 21, 20. So they're climbing too.
Oh, they're both moving up.
Yeah. So for all the problems both of these major institutions have academically, by this one ranking, they are improving.
So you guys moved up 6 spots or so. We moved up
7 in 10 years.
We moved up like 20. So I
you
guess
got a lot more room to move.
Michigan State's the better school.
Yeah, sure.
Oh, nice. I love it.
I just don't feel like arguing. and honestly, I don't care. This was one stupid ranking.
Well, the other thing is,
it was good for me.
Is this U.S. News and World Report?
Yeah.
So these schools, and I know that
they pay.
I know the show's going long, but I got to share this because one of my outstanding investigative reporting students was interested in how the universities, rise in these rankings. There's an office at Michigan State. I think a lot of these universities have them where they have a staff where part of their job is to figure out how to move up in the rankings. And I think the budget of this office, and again, I think they do other things too, but the budget is like a couple $1 million. And the most important thing that they do is figure out how to move up in these rankings.
Because it means they probably get more money out of that investment.
Well, I think it probably helps for grants. It probably helps for bringing students. It probably helps for, fundraising. And I don't know if you've followed Ben Sass, the former Nebraska senator who became president of the University of Florida. He's now dying and has been very noble in telling people about, focusing on life as it slips through his fingers. And he's been taking a treatment that's just like horribly disfigured his face. But he does these TV interviews because he's like, I don't care how I look. I want to share this with you. He's a very faithful man. Yeah. Anyway, one of the reasons why people think he got run out of the University of Florida is because they were slipping in the U.S. News and World Report rankings.
That's why you pay.
And he was saying, well, there's some things we're going to do here that are more important. And the president of the board of trustees was like obsessed with these rankings. Like, pal, you can fix this, you can fix that. But if you slide in these law school rankings and the U.S. News and World Report rankings, you got to go. And can we just make
that's why
the kids the most important thing for the love of all that's holy? Can we just do everything we can to make going to college a great experience for the kids? And for those of you who
that works for you, right? I mean, that's
and for those of you,
if you even want to go,
for those of you who didn't go to college, there's nothing wrong with not going to college. It's not for everybody. And I'll tell you what I think the most important thing about going to college is it's not the academics. It's getting out of your house for 4 years. It's having to be responsible. It's having to live with other people and realizing, oh God, my best friend is the last person in the world I should move in with.
I mean,
it's about growing up.
I grew up in Ann Arbor. I don't think that's a big surprise, but going to the university is totally different. And if it taught me one thing, it's that everyone's not like you.
Yeah.
Learn to accept them and work with them.
Yeah. No.
You don't have to agree with them, but learn to accept them and work with them.
Yeah, it is important, but it's
because when you get put in those groups and those classes and you work with people that come from a far vastly different background, then you see things differently.
Yeah. And this is why I'm a big supporter of national service. You don't need to go to college to work with other people. Let's just everybody after high school do 1 year of public service that's structured and organized by the government, where we have to mix and mingle with people who are different from us, different cultures, different states, different cities, different economic backgrounds. Let's have the rich and the poor mingle. Let's have the red and the blue mix.
This will never happen.
I know it won't, but when you think about the greatest generation, the war brought people together. Of course, it was a shared foe. But I think the other thing that brought people together was just boot camp and having to shared sacrifice, shared experience. That's powerful. And I think, I'm going to get all corny at the end here. If we think about it, we're fighting with each other all the time, but we're all paying $5 for gas. We're all paying whatever the cost of eggs is. There are a lot more things that we have in common than the things that separate us. And while we're getting shitty with everybody, let's just remember the guy next is probably struggling with some stuff. Maybe it's different from what you're struggling with, but the next guy over, they don't always have it better than you. Sometimes they have it worse. So God bless all of us. Everyone. Tiny ML.
I was just going to say something here. Yeah.
I feel so Shawnee. Sean is undergoing a medical procedure. We hope it will be successful and he'll be back with us. Mm-hmm. Maybe he was. What? Eric and Sean, never in the same room at the same time.
What are you talking about?
But anyways, it was great to have Erika back. We appreciate Councilor Ryan Hill coming in to join us. Please watch that ballot, folks. I'm sure there's a goofball on your ballot, no matter where you live. Your vote matters. And in these local elections, it matters even more than in the national elections. And Marc, it's great to see you.
Good to be back live.
It was great not to see you last week because we took a week off. But we still had an epic episode with Dan Austin talking about some of the great buildings in Detroit that are gone.
That's fun,
but not forgotten. So check it out. And to those soulmates who make those bonus episodes possible, thank you so much. We're going to have another great bonus episode coming up later this month. And until then, we turn to our friend Cyrus to take us out.
Can you dig that?
Can you dig it? Can you dig it?
I mean, how could she? Well, vanish.
Nobody believes you now. Nobody will believe you later.
ML, Elric, Marc Fellhauer, Erika Erickson, John Windsor,
Arthur Lowe and Ian Carmichael as Charters and Caldecott. In a classic thriller, The Lady Vanishes.
On the Soul of Detroit.